Page's Facebook account offered the following most blunt Calhoun truthers. Hello, my name is this. May we ask why specifically you care so much about the lake's name? The responses turned out to be wildly rooted from nostalgia to convenience to annoyance, arguing to the name change was tantamount to Nazi book burnings. There is something similar to Nazis in the Lake Calhoun name. Changing the name, isn't it? It was John C. Calhoun. John C. Calhoun was a horrible human being. He ordered slaves killed. He ordered slaves punished. He had slaves. And he was a horrible pro-slavery politician. A horrible, horrible, horrible person. And don't get me wrong. I understand we can... there are presidents we've had, our founding fathers, guys we have carved up on Rushmore that had slaves, and that is a part of this whole thing, which is an ugly reality. But when there is a debate that's had when it's a Jefferson and the legacy of things that he did right versus his legacy of being a slave owner, which you have to kind of bring into conjunction, which you can do on that level. But some sub-level, jackass who was a slave owner, I don't think we owe that guy anything historically. I don't think we need to, hey, guys, don't you change Adolph Street. You're just being a fuddy-duddy. No! We're changing Adolph Street's name. I'm sorry. The results was the name change was interesting here, and the many people who are vocally resistant to Bade Maka. Now, I will say myself, I had an interesting moment when I was in my child's orthodontist office, and when we were talking about this, and the orthodontist. Dr. Colby, a very nice guy, who was asking me about what's going to be the talk topic today. I said, I'll probably talk about the Calhoun thing. And this one person who was in there, she got incredibly upset. She said, why are we changing the name? I said, John C. Calhoun was a slave owner. He said, well, it's not like he killed anyone. I said, what are you talking about? Of course he did. And she just didn't know what the answer to something like that was. No, he was a slave owner. He was a horrible slave owner. He was pro-slavery. He felt that the African Americans were a subspecies, and he, fought tooth and nail to keep slavery as an institution. He's a horrible human being. And I understand we can talk about the failures of our state in the 1850s, 1860s, in this attempt to appeal and praise and try to wow the guys of the time. We're smarter than this, though. It's not like we are back then. We are smarter than this. And it's the same thing they're doing over at the University of Minnesota with some of the buildings over there. There are some people over there that do not deserve to have their name on a building. And granted, yes, I think you have to allow some level of at-the-time mentality to exist within some of these people. But when they are openly out there trying to stop protesting on campus or against African Americans and Jews coming into the college, no, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. So... some of the responses. Dave, KJELL, Kjell. Years of memories at Lake Calhoun. I suppose I should just forget that and call these memories something else now because some guy 100 years ago was a POS. Well, okay, your memories still exist, right?
We need like a sad violin song. I mean, it's over dramatic. Talk about that.
Okay, your memories still exist. I mean, it's. Did your friends and you? Did you wipe it all out because all of a sudden the body of water you did all this fun stuff next to changed its name? Seriously, come on, pull back from the edge. AJ Wasek, WACEK, because liberals and news organizations such as yourself, talking to City Pages, are intolerant of anything that offends you, and you seek to change names of things just to appease your own dissatisfaction. It was originally named Lake Calhoun by the people that founded our state, and just because he owned slaves does not mean we should eradicate a name. No, but he did eradicate some of his slaves, so I think we can actually get rid of his name. I think we can look at... Dude, seriously. Seriously. Pick up a history book, you fools. Just because he was a slave owner, black people who wanted them to be subservient and do all the work for him, doesn't mean he was a bad guy. What are you jerks? Seriously. Okay. Brenda Lee, Lea. That is the only name it ever had. Changing the name. Well, actually, no. Funny story. The Native Americans who were here before us. Well, they had a name for it. I think that was called B'day Maka Ska. So we're actually going retro with it. So there's that. That's the only name it ever had. Changing the name is fine and all, but it's still Calhoun in hundreds of thousands of people's eyes. If this is the hill you are going to die on, really, this is where you're at. Okay. Sharon Health Boudreau. In my parents' lifetime and mine and my children's, it was Lake Calhoun. Stephen Noel. Tired of political correctness and liberals cramming social justice down every aspect of our lives. Seriously, I get the world has problems, but 24/7, someone is offended by something. It's a lake, and the name is well known. I don't give a blank if the guy used to be racist. He's a historical figure, and how dare anyone who purposely try to erase history, even the negative dark history, reminds me of the Nazi book burning. So your argument is that all the names of all the streets in Germany that were named after Nazis during the Nazi regime should be returned to their Nazi names because we're just as bad as the Nazis for renaming the streets that were named after Nazis. Is that what you're saying? Because that seems really stupid. I mean, that seems like unfreaking believably dumb.
How about this, too? Do we not remember any historical figures if they don't have a street named after them?
Apparently, if there's no statue or there it is, how am I supposed... You didn't even know who John C. Calhoun was. Let's just be honest. You have, and the fact that you're arguing so much for this right now tells me you still have no idea who this guy was. Dear God. Just because he was a racist. Yeah, that's okay. Done. Done. I think you've number one. All right. Yep. He was a racist. You probably shouldn't have his name on there. All right. Done. Wow. Nazi. And by the way, it's just that the ultimate conservative thing to blame the other side? We're going to get the guy who killed and whipped and punished black people who weren't going to work for him to the satisfaction of his own needs. And the guy that was basically saying that black people should be kept as slaves. That guy who, taking his name is all like Burke burning by Nazis. Really? Wow. It's 2 points in history you clearly know nothing about. Wow. Ray Zara, it's more like a passing amusement. I have a hard time taking any of this too seriously. At least it will be cheaper when Berkeley, California started changing the name Grove Street to Martin Luther King Jr. Way. That's a lesson in civics mismanagement that leaves out the silliness and the dust. Okay, so you're upset that they changed streets to Martin Luther King Jr. Street? I mean, wait a minute. Is your argument here that they should go back to Grove? Because our argument here is it should go back to B'day Maka Ska. And so you're then agreeing with us. I don't know. Steve Johnson, it is easier to say, and part of growing up, my parents always called it Lake Calhoun, where it'd be a picnic. It's his history. Maybe it's true they don't like the guy who the name belongs to, but it's also a reminder of history. Covering up with a newfound name does not change history. It helps us forget it. You guys, there's nothing there about history. It's just a name. And the reality, and now all of a sudden you're acting as like the only way that people learn about John C. Calhoun is by hiking around Lake Calhoun or B'day Maka Ska. You walk around the lake and say, well, you know what this lake is? Like Grandpa is talking about giving you let me tell you about what the guy's name on this lake is. Let me tell you about this guy. Because is that what you're saying? I'm sorry, your picnics with your parents suck so much that the name of the lake is the linchpin of your positive memories. Dear Lord. Janet Jones, I'm old. I'm used to it. I don't like rewriting history. Forward, yes, not backwards. Well, this is called being forward. We can either keep the name of a guy who was pro-slavery, or we can change it back to a more accepting name. And in a way for us to acknowledge that Native Americans were here a lot longer than the white people were. By getting, some level of recognition by having a few places named after Native American traditional names. B'day Maka Ska. Jerry Piaja, Pihlaja, because that is what it was called as long as I can remember. Stephen Thompson, I don't care that much, but it's what I know it is. That's what I grew up with. It's called Lake Calhoun for many years. No one is going to stop you from calling it that. All right, guys, no one will stop you. There's no one's going to kick in your door. No one's going to give you a ticket. No one's going to do that. So if you want to have some little victory celebration by going out there and screaming as you are, that's not B'day Maka Ska, that's Lake Calhoun. Well, good for you, bravo. The reality is its name now is B'day Maka Ska, and my kids are growing up with B'day Maka Ska. And I'm not going to sit here and say, don't you ever refer to it as that. It's always going to be Lake Calhoun. Because out of ignorance, you're actually demanding people remember racists. Stop. It just changed the damn name. And like I said, if this is really what your standard is that we're all going to forget who he is. No, there's plenty of books in the Minneapolis Public Library for you to go down there and read all about John C. Calhoun. And trust me, if you actually do go read about Calhoun, I think and you really soak up what he is and what he did, unless you're a racist and a bigot, you're going to come back and say, yeah, change the name. And there's my little homework for all you people mentioned in the City Pages article, all of you. Go read the book. Go read the book. And after reading about this guy and really soaking up this guy's legacy, if you still believe that's fine, I won't agree with you, but you're entitled to that. But stop with this, you're ruining history. No, we're fixing it.